Let's get underway, and let's welcome the president of Sterling Radio here, says Larry Megan. Larry, thanks for being here.
Hey, Tim. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. I look forward to these shows with you literally all month long, and this one is really certainly special, celebrating your one-year anniversary.
Well, we got that. We, of course, well, let's talk about the obvious here, the Emperor. I mean, you guys, did you guys, let's talk about this for a second,
Sure.
because we almost sold this out without it ever making television. Now, I knew we'd get a response, but what I didn't expect was that. Now, did that catch you guys off guard or not? Because the overwhelming pre-issue response I thought was extraordinary.
Well, I would say no, it didn't catch us off guard. There's a couple of factors. One, of course, is the timepiece itself is absolutely exquisite. It's probably the most beautiful timepiece that I think Sterling Original has ever made. It's exceptional. And, of course, the other big factor, Tim, is you. You have just such a tremendous following for so many years in the watch industry on television. And, of course, you really hit a home run. You started previewing this piece a month ago, and hyping it up on the shows, and you sent it out to the newsletter, and then, you know, combining the beautiful watch with your following, it's certainly not a surprise at all.
I mean, when have I not mentioned this in the last month? This has been very, very exciting. I've worn one for at least a month now. And I can tell you, wearing this around anywhere from going to restaurants to the mall to wherever, it doesn't matter. I have found very consistently that I've had guys, in fact, I was in as recently as yesterday. I won't name the store, but I just happened to be by one. You know, I've been in there, I'll go in. I mean, these guys carried Rolex, these guys carried a lot of these high-end brands, and so I'm walking in there just browsing the case, and they go, "What are you wearing?" I say, "Well, it's a Sterling Emperor, you know, it's coming out." And everybody, I just thought this was very funny. They even had guys coming out from the back to see this, and we're passing it around. And to see somebody who carries really high-end brands and take a look at this watch, that it would be comparatively very, very, very affordable to almost anything in their case. It was just kind of fun for me. So this is a $1,300 watch. You guys can pick this up for $399. It is $16095 if you would like it. And of course, Larry, you mentioned at the top of the show that the overwhelming response to this didn't really catch you guys as off guard as it caught me, because I knew we'd get a response. The overwhelming response to this, I thought, was just fascinating.
Well, the thing is, anytime we've showed this to anybody in the offices during a meeting or whatever, take a look at this. I mean, we're so proud of the Emperor. It took 16 months from conception to actually get it on the air. This is not something that was easily conceived and manufactured and produced. But anytime we've shown it to anybody, going back to when we first got the original samples, everybody is just, wow. I mean, you don't see anything like it. It looks like almost like a pocket watch that's strapped to your wrist with that crown and bow at the 12 o'clock position. The mother of pearl, the TV shot probably doesn't even do it justice. That's a great shot, but it really does pop. If you wear this piece in public, there is no question you are going to get unsolicited comments and compliments and looks and stares. People are going to, it just really is an eye grabber. It is just beautiful. It's the Emperor. It's got a beautiful open heart display exhibition there as you can see on the left side of the dial there, as you're looking at it right there. I mean, that's one of the most exquisite displays of an open heart I've ever seen. You've got a secondary time zone there at the 3 o'clock position, but that outer ring mother of pearl, and that was not easy to do. That dial is actually recessed, okay, and that mother of pearl had to be shaved because the backside is not even, and to make it fit and lay flush with the rest of the dial is very difficult to do. It's less than 1 micron. It's very, very thin. So to get that to be to lay flush in the dial, very difficult to achieve, very difficult to do. The case is solid 316 surgical steel, but the bottom line here is the look of the timepiece. It is gorgeous. It is just very, very formal, very dressy. It's got a sapphire cabochon and the crown up there at 12 o'clock. And like you say, Tim, you've been wearing it. You know what we're talking about, because I'm sure you had plenty of compliments and unsolicited comments coming your way.
Well, one of the things I found fascinating is when I was passing this around, especially I mentioned yesterday, with this very high-end, you know, around here in the Twin Cities, pretty famous jewelry store and watch dealer and so on, is a couple of them were just kind of holding it to me, and they go, "Yeah, I think I saw this," and I can't remember the publication, but it was some really high-end, like like where you see what the Patek Philippe's went for at Sotheby's this
Right.
week, kind of a thing.
Right.
And of course, I had to tell them, well, I don't think you saw this one, but it was just fascinating. That was the immediate comparison that these guys would make.
Well, you know, you're going to get compliments like that. You're going to get comments like that. Where have I seen this before? Have I seen it before? And the answer is no, you've never seen it before. There's no other watch anywhere out there that is like this one. However, there is a watch brand, Bovet, that has made this, the look of the crown and bow at 12 o'clock very popular. And every watch, not every watch manufacturers, but many watch manufacturers have taken their whack at it, have put a crown and bow at 12 o'clock. Bovet's not the only one, but they're the ones that have been kind of identified with it. And of course, Bovet has, in my opinion, I mean, they're a beautiful brand. Their pieces are just exquisite, but this is not really inspired by anything in their brand. They don't have a piece that looks like this one. This is completely a Sterling original 100%. But when people say, haven't I seen this before, they're probably referring to the fact that because there's a crown and bow at 12 o'clock, oh, that must be a Bovet, because they've been identified with that. But again, many watch manufacturers have taken their whack and done a model with a crown and bow at 12 o'clock.
I'm going to walk you guys through this and we'll take a look. Obviously, we got a ton of lines going here for this. In fact, I would recommend, if you haven't yet done so, there may or may not be a wait in the phone, and we've obviously got a lot of representatives standing by for this show. But I do want to tell you guys, if you want to get through with no waiting, absolutely go to shoppingsource.com right now. You can order this watch over there, and it would be the exact same item number. It is 16095. 16095 to get in on this, either via television or via shoppingsource.com. And again, if you just tuned in, welcome to the big Sunday morning show. We're, of course, celebrating with the president of Sterling, Larry Megan, specifically the world release of the Emperor, which is currently on the screen. So a $1,300 watch you guys can now pick out at $399. And we're talking, in fact, let me walk you through some of the technical specs. Part of what I found very impressive about this is the physical size of the watch. To get a watch like this that was so elegant and is also sized like this is pretty unusual. Typically, when you think about elegance, even today with the big, we can't even really say oversized anymore now until you're up around 50, 60 millimeter. But most of your dress watches are still going to be 36, 38, maybe a 40, but probably not. This one is very regal, very elegant, but it's also the larger, which, as many of you know, the higher-end watches have been trending larger now for a few years. And this one is a 41 millimeter case. Mm-hmm. So it's, in the sense of a dress watch, it's unusually large. In fact, one of the ways I tend to describe this is that it looks like a wrist, like a pocket watch you wear on your wrist, is one of the ways I would describe it. It's very big, very dramatic. It's about a 12 millimeter thickness. Now you've got a Cristerna crystal both front and back in this particular watch. Now, what is Cristerna crystal and what does it mean to you? Cristerna crystal basically is a material that has been borrowed from the eyeglass industry, the eyewear industry. And what it means to you in the terms of watches is that it has a scratch resistancy that is superior to a mineral crystal. It also has a shatter resistancy that is superior to a sapphire crystal. And that's a mistake I know that a lot of novices have made, and people just not that well dressed, frankly, in sapphire, is they make, and I understand from whence it comes, they make the assumption, okay, I've got this very scratch-resistant material, therefore it must be shatter-resistant. It's two very different animals. You can actually shatter a sapphire pretty easy. So the point is you don't want to go around banging on your fine watches. But with Cristerna crystal, they have improved the scratch resistancy over mineral crystal, but it's also more shatter resistant than sapphire crystal. So for many individuals, this is a crystal that I think you're going to find is far more practical, and that's something that Sterling has used on this one. Both front and back, decorated case back, screwed in back, decorated movement, in this case with the parallel line, similar to the Côte de Genève markings. Custom built leather strap, by the way. It's one of the things that I think a lot of you are going to find very attractive about this watch is a custom designed lug area, custom designed leather work. They've even inset a sapphire cabochon into the crown, and also notice that the crown is up at the 12 rather in the more traditional 3 o'clock. So it really sets it apart just from that standpoint as well. Very, very cool. And again, having had the chances I've, of course, been able to do, and it's been a real advantage from doing the show, is I've worn mine for about a month. And if you like getting just compliments and people going, where'd you get that, or one of the things I find fascinating is a lot of the comments is pretty much how do you afford something like that, because it looks extremely expensive when you're wearing it.
Yeah,
And, which, by the way, is a good problem to have.
Very formal piece. It does look like a piece that costs $10,000–$20,000 on your wrist. It's very formal. It's certainly not a type of piece for every day. The open heart exhibition, we've seen many open hearts, but I think this one here is as grand as you're going to see. The way it's displayed with the blued steel screws top and bottom. You can see the balance wheel beating back and forth. This one, by the way, has 21,600 vibrations per hour, so you're getting nice accuracy on this timepiece as well. And the name Emperor, that comes from, if anybody's out there that remembers or is familiar with the old fable. It was actually a Hans Christian Andersen fable, The Emperor and the Nightingale, or The Nightingale and the Emperor. Do you ever remember that?
It's Emperor and the Nightingale, I think.
Whatever, a Nightingale, Emperor.
I recall the story.
Do you really? You know, the Emperor had a bad heart, and the little bird, the Nightingale, was singing to heal his heart. And he went from being like this dictatorial type of emperor, and after the Nightingale fixed his heart with her beautiful singing, you know, his heart had been changed and became more beautiful, and he became an emperor of the people, and it was a beautiful thing for everybody to see. So here you have the open heart, and it really is beautiful, and everybody can see it. And I'll tell you, it's something like we've never done before. It's without a doubt, in my opinion, the most beautiful timepiece that Sterling Original has ever made. And we went through the initial quantities with you, as you said. We're in second quantities now, and I think it's safe to say that this is probably going to be it. Whatever's left here in stock is going to be the end of it, because we did not make that many of these pieces. These pieces were not something we could just stamp out. It took 16 months to get these to air, and what we have remaining back in New York is not very many, and they've been committed elsewhere. And even if somebody else were to find them elsewhere, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to sell between $600 and $700 elsewhere. So this is a spectacular opportunity right here on WSS at this anniversary celebration pricing. And of course, Tim, in a way, you had obviously a lot to do with it, but in a way, this is kind of a thank you for all the support that we've had from people here at WSS and all the fans out there at WSS that have been buying our Sterling watches. So take advantage of this. Even if you don't have a lot of formal affairs to go to, this is something that you can pass down from generation to generation. It's the Emperor from Sterling Original.
You know, one of the things I find interesting, and since I've been wearing mine almost all day, every day, just throughout the course of activity, is when I first saw this a few months ago, actually in prototype mode, I was thinking, okay, it's going to be a very formal watch, and indeed it is. By the way, I think this is a watch you can wear literally with a tux or a great suit, and it looks perfect. I've actually had a chance to wear this in a lot of basically dress casual occasions, and surprisingly, it plays beautifully. And I wouldn't have said that until I actually went out and did it. But it really does play very, very well, and you just look like, frankly, you look like a guy that knows watches and was able to afford a really, really nice watch, basically, is what you look like. And it's a very, very cool feeling. I mean, I'll tell you another place I got stopped, and it must have had 4 or 5 people wanting to know more about the watch, was actually in a it's a place where you buy like workout equipment and stuff like that, and you know, you don't think of that as formal in any way, shape, or form. And I happen to have this on, and next thing I'm like, hey, wow, that's really cool. And then another came over, and I think we probably ended up selling of the 4 or 5, probably 2 or 3 probably went to the website and got one. I mean, it was just one of these things where they couldn't get on the website, but they had to sign up for this. Well, it's a long story, but 2 weeks ago you could have signed up for an email and got this in advance. So the point is, this watch garners a huge amount of attention in person, and it's very